Hey, welcome to the Bronx Aerosol Arts documentary project. My name is Butch too, and I am joined by Ree. Welcome, Ree.
Thank you. Welcome to be here.
Yeah,
Chino was one that was when it came to doing like the Chino Malo and Ree whole car with the Cheech Wizard in the corner. He was a little taller than me, so he had we did that in 225th. He had the lower part and I had the higher part. And he did a lot of the filling, especially when he did his whole name. Instead of C Malo, he did Chino Malo, the whole name. I don't know how many freaking 9 letters.
Um, yeah, I have to interrupt for a second. No, not turn up, but I had your shirt, and I think that was what was on that shirt, the Chino Malo with the Cheech and
Yeah,
the Ree.
yeah.
I had that. He gave me that as a gift.
Yes, we did that. I think in I think was '75, and that was the first Bode characters on the train. Because Chino was a Bode.
Vaughn, Bode, and all them guys.
Yeah, oh, he loved those type of characters, and when he met Vaughn, he was head over heels, man.
What was his son? Mark Bode?
Mark Bode, yes.
Right. Tell us
Thank you.
about.
And now, last and certainly not least, Bronx in the house, Bree 2. One of the nastiest guys ever to do it, without question. Wrote with a guy that not many people know of, Chino Malo, who was just straight up nasty. And to my knowledge, and I'm not doing so good tonight, but maybe the first Bode character on the train, which obviously caught on.
I concur.
So why don't you tell us how you got into it and your years and your crews and all of that, Noga.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ree.
What's up, Rick?
Started in '73 to '77. I specialize on everything from window downs, from throw-ups, to top to bottoms, whole cars. I hit basically every layup, every tunnel to be. I started out on Broadway, and I moved over down the lines. Chino Malo was a fantastic partner. Me and him grew up on the same block. He lived on this side of the building, I lived on that side of the building. But before I got together with Chino, I was with Iron Mike, X-Ray 174, hitting every single bus, every single wall within 3-mile radius. Meaning we had a bus barn in front of us, a bus barn by the Sheridan Expressway, if you know the Bronx. So we did all that. When I saw what Coco was doing, what Wicked, what Justin was doing on the one line, I said, that's the place to be. And I went straight beeline. And Justin will tell you, I bombed the days out of it. I enjoy myself. I had plenty of pain, plenty of time. Now, mind you, I was no more than 12, 13 years old. How is this kid getting so much pain? I rocked like there was no tomorrow.
Well, now I want to get into something that's really important for me and the viewers, and that's the connection to graffiti. Because I guess so, like the Lizards and the Wizard, they really got out there through Heavy Metal magazine, right? Which is like the science fiction magazine.
National Lampoon, I think.
National Lampoon, okay.
Yeah, National Lampoon was like 1 million print runs.
Okay.
And my dad was quickly becoming their biggest cartoonist. But you know, that's that and Cavalier magazine, the Wank magazines my dad worked for, you know, it's Cavalier Dude and Swank and Screw. All those were like, porno magazines. And my father did 4 pages a month for Cavalier. And that was amazing because they paid a page rate of $400 a page times 4 plus Cheech Wizard once a month. My dad was doing good money back then. Now there's no magazines to work for.
Right.
No one pays a page rate.
Right.
Heavy metal pays $80 a page now.
Oof.
My dad would quit
Right.
over that kind of pay.
Yeah.
$80 a page for color.
That's crazy.
I did it during COVID just because I got, you know, self-employment compensation, and I just said, okay, I'm going to be a cartoonist and just have the government pay me to do comics.
Yeah.
So for two years, I did comics for $80 a page.
But so those magazines is where some of the early writers were seeing some of these cartoons,
Yep.
right?
So Ree and Chino Malo were the earliest recognized doing the Bode character on a train. It was the first one that got photographed and documented. And that was 75, late 75, just after my dad passed.
And that's
So my dad never got to see that,
wow, yeah.
and never met Dondi or any of the guys.
Yeah.
Like I did. I met them all, but and I got into, you know, I was a comic book artist straight up when I was in school of visual arts, and I wish I had met some of them, you know, like Dondi, like just meeting Dondi at that point, I would have been in there with Basquiat and Warhol and all and Futura and the whole group. I would have totally been shoot in, but I was strictly comics at that time, just trying to follow in my dad's footsteps.
Oh, but you did get to meet.
But I did in
Dondi
85. I started getting, you know, I started noticing there was more than one person doing lizards and cheeches on the trains, and then, you know, the first time I saw Bode characters on a train was on a nonstop on West 23rd. And yeah, it was West 23rd station, and I saw a train go by, and it had Deadbone and Bode Broads and the Machines and Cheech Wizard, and it all went by like that, and I was like, holy fuck, who the hell is doing this, is risking their freedom to paint my father's characters on the fucking trains. I thought it was one insane motherfucker, and I just left it at that. It turned out it was Mayor and Cal, probably, that team, the brothers. I've explained it to him, and he said, I don't have any photos of that, Mark. I would love if we did, but a lot of times we just did it for the love of it, you know, and just to get up.
Yeah.
And so I never seen that train, but when I went back to San Francisco in 82, 83, I saw it above the Stud. You know, there was the Stud
Down there
nightclub.
on Folsom, yeah.
And there was a Bode from Zooks. There was one of the Jets, and probably it could have been King, or it could have been one of those guys, or Fade, or there were some of the early writers, Shadow, and Thorne. There was a whole plethora of early writers that were doing Bode characters. And that could have been any one of them. But I realized it was more than one at that point. So they're everywhere.
Wow.
And then it started. And then I embraced it myself. You know, I met Dondi. Dondi sought me out.
And you said before that Dondi was like probably helped really blow up the characters because he did that full car. I think it's the Children of the Grave.
Yep.
With the
We owe him a lot. The last time I saw him, I didn't. When we first met, it was at my mother-in-law's bodega in Brooklyn, State and Third, and he knew that my mother-in-law had a bodega, so he kept going. When's Mark coming? When's Mark coming? He's coming for Christmas. Okay, I'll be back. And finally we met, and he never said anything about graffiti. I was still a comic book guy, and he just was like, wanted to know stories. He wanted to know what it was like to be with my dad, and if he had said, come spray paint with me in the yard, I would have said, oh hell yeah. I was like just like in my early 20s. I was perfect for it, but he didn't. He was very humble, and he just wanted to touch base. We drew for each other, and that was it.
Wow.
And but years later, last time I saw him was in the 90s, and I looked a lot different. I didn't have the long hair my father had, and I had white bleached hair, and I came up to him at the bar, Max Fish, and it's like, my family owes you a lot, man. Like you are the pinnacle of, like, you started a whole new following for us, and I want to. He's like, yeah, whatever, man. And all of a sudden somebody came up to the bar, Bode, you want a drink? And he was, oh, Bode, Mark Bode. he was like, he didn't know who I was. He was like, oh, whatever, dude. Get off my shoulder. But the last time he didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was when we met. Mm-hmm. And the last time we were together was, we experienced that. But yeah, eventually I got together with Revolt and Zephyr and Scene and all those guys, and Stan 153, who had turned out to be one of my closest friends.